it's fun.
How about your live performance? Do you see it improving quite a bit, or?
Oh yeah, by leaps and bounds every day, and it's always changing. But some nights are devastatingly horrible.
Like,
just I don't know. It just happens.
You think it's a matter of communication between the musicians, or actual facility on the part of?
Actual facility, and there's always a new bent on how we interact. But our basic interaction is really great. The only time it really sucks is when the place just is not conducive to music, or when the system sucks. And especially if you play like a big theater, or a theater. I mean, that's big to me, but it's not that big. Like a repertory theater. The monitor systems have to be really good, or else you can't hear each other, and it's like having heavily condom sex, and you get frustrated. You want to break something. But monitors are so important in like stadiums. Like we opened up for Soundgarden and Tad in Milwaukee, which I can't believe. And they had the best monitors, and no wonder they can hear everything. He's sort of working off of a like a radio mix in front of you that's supposed to be your band. We do best in places where we mix ourselves. Hardly any PA and mostly us. And that's it.
Okay. Actually, now occurs to me the one negative thing I read about you was the review of a concert. It said up to the end it was magnificent, and then you did the long version of Kangaroo, and that sort of turned off that particular viewer. Are you still
which was it? The London?
Yeah, that
was it the Garage?
I think it was in New Musical Express.
Can I tell you something? This is not bragging. Every fucking person that was in front of me at the beginning of the show that I saw, and I'm aware of my audience, was still there, and the place was silent while we were playing Kangaroo. He just got impatient. He just doesn't care. That's cool. Or he thinks that songs shouldn't be longer than 3 minutes, or I don't know, or maybe he just plain thought it was bad. But that was one of the best Kangaroos we'd ever played. Oh, it was the first time that ever happened like that. But that's okay. I mean, some people think that Patti Smith is a fake. Some people thought James Dean was a fake. Who knows? It's art. But we had a good time. We played some really stinky Kangaroos, though. Some of them have been 12 minutes. It's hit and miss, and that's the whole point. It could happen, it could not. We don't know what's going to go on. That's the thing with that song, is we don't know what's going to happen ahead of time. They don't plan that shit out.
Yeah.
It's pure interaction. I'm leading it, and maybe there might be some text that I make up, or text that I've amassed over a few days, or sometimes I don't sing at all. And it's supposed to be Maddie propelling the rhythm with the drums, but I don't know. I mean, lots of reviewers are waiting for this, perfect show. But that's because they've got their own expectations all over it. And I have no concern for that, or I have no concern for their fear of music.
Our interviewer asks about the suicide of Kurt Cobain, about how he may have been sort of chewed up by the business and spit out. Is that your take on the matter?
I have no knowledge of his life, or him. There's always a way to provide for yourself. I think that either people who kill themselves want to die. And that's something I know for sure.
And you can't really say anything beyond that.
No, because one, it's heartbreaking, and two, I'm a stranger. All I know is that Courtney and Francis will never ever live it down. They'll never ever forget, and people won't forget that about them. I'm glad that Courtney, made a good album despite.
Okay. Another question here by the interviewer.
You don't want me to do them all?
Hello?
It's fine. You just want some blank? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Another question by the interviewer here. Do you include yourself among this Generation X?
that's the whole thing, is that nobody who was in Generation X named it Generation X. It was, that's probably the most befitting thing about this generation. There are no labels. There are no more rules. There are no more absolutes about any youth culture whatsoever, about what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to do. All that exists now are labels and trends. That's all that exists now, in people's minds. I know the real world exists way, way down underground, in places where you have to go yourself and taste it for yourself. But you ain't going to get it from MTV. You ain't going to get it from any media. You are not going to find the revolution on a screen or in a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say about Generation X is that the labelers and detractors and or posers better get the fuck out of the way, or they'll get X'd out.
How about your lyrics? Are they your take on reality, or is it more of a fantasy thing, or what are we to make of your lyrics?
That's my life.
It's
my life is fuel for my poetry, or my lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Poetry.
So that's your life in there, huh?
Of course, or else I wouldn't be able to fill them with any blood, like any life. I wouldn't. And even things that I don't know. I don't think I've ever made anything. Oh, it's a weird balance between. It's not autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
I make it so that it can live in different parts of my life. So it's open, but still, it's specific. It's not specific to a gender or an identity. It's just specific to an experience of life. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And I guess people can translate it as they please.
They can, they can
interpret it as they please. I should.
Yeah, as they need.
Mm-hmm. And I've never seen this before on your Japanese pressing. It has the English lyrics, and it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have the Japanese translations because it said, by your wishes, you didn't want it in there.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be accurate.
Oh, in other words, you don't want a literal rendering.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, it was just a last minute, it was just like, it took 5 minutes to decide. I went, oh, no, I hate him. Like, I hate it when, I mean, it took like, fucking, it took many translators to get Rilke down to a real, cool, honest, accurate, poetic translation from German to English. And Stephen Mitchell apparently is, has the latest, like letters to a young poet and Duino elegies. They're all Stephen Mitchell. And somehow he's happened upon, in his heart, he's been able to translate. But I would have to work with like a special Japanese friend who knows me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wouldn't want to. It would be unfair to the Japanese people because the songs are important to me. I couldn't just knock off a Japanese rendering and have it be accurate. I'd have to know Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
It might take 2 pages to fill just the one English thing. Because Japanese language, I was told, is you're in Japan.
Yeah.
But no, just like in all those fucking that Sufi. The Qawwali Sufi poetry that's brought into a English translation is so dry and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I hate English translations of things like Mexican and Mexican Spanish and Urdu from Pakistan and French, which is so just the identity itself. But just the logic of the language is so filled with innuendo and puns and stuff like that. You just can't catch it. You have to experience the language. So I thought it wouldn't be wise. It wasn't a precious thing. I just thought it wouldn't do any good.
Huh. So you think that just the Japanese listener left to his own devices will get more from the music as a result?
Yeah, and find out about it over years to find out what it means to them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I said that was the first time I had encountered that, and
yeah, I thought I was just doing the right thing.
Compared to other people in your generation, your age group, or whatever, do you think you were raised in a different sort of environment, or is your story rather